Never, never. All right. Because I just, it's so funny. I was just talking to myself and I was like, yo, I want some sushi. And look, don't quote me, but I was like, sushi is so feminine. Like, sushi is so feminine. Like, can I get sashimi? Can I get nigiri? Is it nigiri? I don't know, but I love it. It's like, can I get spicy tuna? You know? But I wanted to come because, all right, so I recorded a video for Patreon, 20 minutes, no sound. So here's what I'm gonna go ahead and tell y'all what I feel. Hi, Bookie. I got your message. I've been so busy. I literally just got home this morning. So when I can get my mind together, I'm gonna respond, or the video will be up by the time I get my mind together. But either or, you will get your answer, Bookie. Okay? So, as you can see, the title says it's new physical, not energetic. Okay? I recorded a video. Thank you so much. I'm loving the pinks. I'm really loving the pinks and the nudes, the neutral colors on me as well. Pastel, I love them. I don't know what it's really doing, but I love the energy. I'm getting into, I guess, they always be like, oh, dress like your rising, dress like your Venus. I'm really loving the Venus energy, my Venus energy. So like I said, as you can see, the title is that it's new physical, it's not energetic. Now, I do feel like there is a very underlining rushing. Okay, everybody is rushing. There's a rush to do things. And I'm saying this because I see it in myself. Now, what I think is crazy is the fact of that. Do y'all not see the highlight of emotional distress, shade, um, false information, false impersonation? Like there's a highlight on it. I'm gonna give y'all an example. I keep telling y'all that people's story times on TikTok are no longer safe. Okay, they're no longer safe. You cannot, if you gonna do a story time on TikTok, that story time you better have that shit down to a T, all the facts, because Jupiter, I mean not Jupiter, because Saturn and Aries, I told y'all, was sitting there admiring how authoritative you were, how powerful you were, how much you were so assertive, and I think a lot of people, that's why they shy away from Aries directness. So if you're going to have a story time right now, if you're going to be saying something, baby, you better make sure that if you lying, even if you lying, honey, even if you confusing the enemy, baby, you better make sure to a T, or you will be dealt with. And I don't even mean be dealt with in like a bad thing, but like consequences will be coming straight back to you, right? And so there is a rushing energy. Everyone's rushing right now. And I think it's because of the fact of Saturn went from a dreamy state, which dreamy states are happening when you're asleep, to a Mars state of like action, grow, let's roll, get in the car, start the car, let's go, move, hurry up, move, 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 move. And the funny thing about it is, it's so funny that I'm using the Twilight example because, the vampires move very quickly. And yesterday I was around this lady and she said the exact same things. Oh, girl, I don't know. You're watching the live on your phone? Y'all know I literally just get on YouTube and just hit record, or I just upload a video. I don't know how to do it, work this shit. I don't know. Oh, wait, hold on. I think you just hit the heart. On YouTube and just hit record, or I just upload a video. I don't know how to do it, work this shit. Oh, girl, I don't know. This is too complex. Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, hit the three dots up here, and then hit like. Just hit the heart. YouTube and just hit record, or I just upload a video. There you go. Honey, and I be on my iPad. I don't know nothing about getting on my phone. I literally just hit record and we just be talking. Okay, there we go. I'm like, I don't even know how to hit the button. But there is this rushing energy. Everybody wants to rush. And I feel like you can double tap it too. Okay, cool. Thank you. So the rushing energy comes from how the transit basically went into here. And because Saturn is the planet of structure, I feel like there's a rush for people to find discipline and structure. Like it's like dictatorship. Thank you. There's a dictatorship over your everyday life, everyday routine that everybody needs to just calm down. The energy is new physically but not energetically. So if it's a new physical and it's not a new energetical, meaning that the inner understanding of you already knows what's going on. So the fact that you're trying to now like move this in order, get this in order, say this and do this, it's kind of redundant. It's very unnecessary. And I couldn't figure out why was I picking at this point. I'm ready to cross motherfuckers out like ping, 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 ping. And they're like, you're making life harder on yourself. You only want revenge because of the fact of you were betrayed. When you feel betrayed, that means that there was a lack of boundaries, period. Because there's so much wisdom in this energy, what I love about it is the fact of that the Coens had been around for lifetimes. They had been around for lifetimes. And so what they were able to do basically, or why they were so like far away from society's norms, is because of the fact of they had seen it all. And because you energetically have seen it all, whether you are consciously aware of it or not, with Saturn being in Aries, I told you guys your discipline and your structure and you how you prioritize things and how you execute your plan is energetically aligned all the way through. It's not new. So you physically might be dealing with something very different, but if inside of you, you're not nervous about it, you're not worried about it, but there is this I'm just gonna go ahead and call it. There is this dark shadow, and this dark shadow is basically saying to you this: this is not gonna be taken care of like you think it's gonna be taken care of, so you need to just go ahead and take care of it. This is not gonna work out the way you think so you need to make sure you put your ducks in a row. And you like, okay, maybe you're right. Like maybe I do need to like, okay, I need to do this and do this. Maybe you're right. I need to hurry up and do this and do that because I don't want to deal with this. This is gonna fuck something up. I'm telling you now, everything is pre-written. Yes, it is very familiar. But everything is pre-written. It's already planned out. June, I just did a spread for June. I said, well, what is June's energy? June's energy, I'm going to sum it up and then I'm still going to pull, but I'm going to sum it up with what June's energy really was. June's energy was the fact of that we have this underlining thing that we need to be working. And it was so funny because the Page of Pentacles came out, and the Page of Pentacles came out, but it was just kind of like the offer that it was feeling, it was very weird. It was like, you're thinking that you're having to work on these pentacles, but in reality, the universe or God, whoever, they're working on the pentacles that are being provided from the page. So while you're thinking you need to create, and it was so funny because it was water energy, but it was like if I could like give you a visual, it was like the physical was nothing but water energy and fire, which I thought was weird because those are very contradicting sometimes. If they work together, then you can find a nice flow. It's like a shower. You turn it too far, it's too hot, you burn your skin. You turn it to the right, it's too cold. If you kind of got to find that middle where it's not lukewarm and it's not burning your skin. And so that was very interesting to me because I'm like, normally that's very contradicting. Most people, they don't know how to gauge the temperature or the setting on the water just right. So therefore they have to do a lot of experimenting. So I was like, why would the physical be so much experimenting of trying to gauge the temperature to be just right? But over here, when you look at the spirit is in all earth energy and air energy. I said, well, the normally it's either they're in a feminine or a masculine. And I thought it was so interesting that they're literally in a duality between the feminine and the masculine energy. I said, now why the hell would the human energy be in water and fire? And we're not talking about like wands, all the wands. We're talking about like literally the emperor. We're talking about the queen of wands, not just small power, what water, I mean, fire energy, like big energy. We're talking about big confidence. And then you're going to be met big confidence, big, what you call it? Like, are you like, you're going to match that with water? And we're not talking about like little water. We're talking about like king of cups, like big, powerful water. So therefore, just to give you another example to just kind of, make this make sense, think about your drive, your ambition, your actions, your passion is now being literally flooded with emotions, and the emotions are not negative. That was crazy to me, because how is the human body able to deal with something like that? If the soul has air energy and earth energy, you trying to tell me that the soul is nothing but the mind and the feet? That is so crazy to me, because the soul needs a little bit of emotion. The soul needs a little bit of like a flow. And you're going to tell me that the soul is not working off of anything but pure logic and straight stability? That is the epitome of it's going to be a new physical, but it's not energetically new at all. You are the one that is creating chaos and making you rush and making you, think you need to control certain things. The spirit is like, I don't know what in the hell she's doing, but this is already pre-written. Like, this was already discussed. So what is she doing over there? It seems to be a lot of overworking. What are you doing? I had this epiphany yesterday. I've been so focused on grinding, so focused on, and not just, just get my ducks in a row, that, bitch, I had to pick my head up and realize you ain't never been in a position like this. You ain't never been in a position like this. Everything has been moved from a survival point. Like, okay, I have no choice but to get up and move. I'm over there telling this lady, I'm talking to this lady last night. It was so funny. It was so much wisdom last night. And I'm telling her and I'm explaining, certain things in my life. And she was like, that's a testimony. And I was like, you think? She was like, yeah. And I was like, oh. I never really thought of it like that. Like, I just thought that that's just how humans actually get their shit together. Like, people just get their life together. She goes, no, that's a testimony, sweetie. That's actually something that most people are not able to, they're not able to, come through and go through in a lifetime. Like, you're how old? And I was like, oh, I'm like 29. And she was like, 29. And you think that how you're getting your life together and the things that you've done and the movements that you've made is normal? And I said, well, yeah. Because, I mean, what I see when I think of certain success, I see that there are women that are literally making six figures in a month. There are people that are making six figures in a day. There are people that have assets and they have all these things. And I'm not to say it's about what they have, but it's just like, well, they have it at 23. So, I mean, what am I doing? She said, you're not understanding what I'm saying. She said, the things that you're saying of where you see success, those are actually the things that are at the bottom of the list. And I said, okay, so she's older. She didn't get married until she was like 40 something years old. And she was like, she saw that as a luxury. She didn't have any children. Like, my girl was like, I don't have to deal with this. And I was like, that's so crazy that you're like that, because that's how I feel about life. I don't have to deal with certain things. And so, I'm like, okay, like, we're talking, and she's like, the things that you name as success are at the bottom of the list. And I said, well, why would they be at the bottom of the list? You know what I'm saying? And because y'all know me, I'm big on generational wealth, and wisdom brings, that's generational wealth, wisdom. And so she was like, sweetie, like, your mindset of how you think of things is literally beyond the average person. And I'm sitting there like, once again, this is God reminding me how far ahead I am of people. So if you're human is in overdrive of your ambition, how you move, your action towards things, you're rushing, it's because of the false sense of emotions. What was also so interesting was the fact of that the Seven of Cups came out, which is an illusion. And the Seven of Cups came out with, oh my God, what did it come out with? It came out with this energy as if there's an illusion of like all these different options or all these different tasks. And there's not even three tasks at hand that need to be taken care of. So I'm like, why does June have this very fruitful energy? It has very harvesty energy, it has very great energy. But at the same time, you honestly feel like there's just so much to do. And so I was like, okay, well, if there's just so much to do, that clearly, I mean, if I feel that there's things that need to be done, then why aren't they being done? And it was like because of the fact that you are not in a place to be able to execute things because there are things that have to happen in order for what you need to do to be it go into play. So it made me once again. I'm you guys right now, and it's so crazy. I'm just gonna be so honest with y'all. Probably for the month of June, we will be having to mentally dissect a lot of things. Because I'm telling y'all, like I was just telling somebody the other day, I was like, my mind be moving. They were like, oh, I know. And I'm like, oh, so my mind be fucking moving. And you be sitting over here doing shit and making my mind move. And they was like, no, but I can tell you be thinking. And so I'm sitting over here and I'm like, okay, like the fuck that's supposed to mean. But like I'm starting to you know, and I feel like like the domino effect. Exactly. So one thing that I noticed that we do is that we we have been stuck in this we've been stuck in this era as a society to where we do reflect. Do reflect. Do reflect. We don't reflect, do reflect, do. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like we don't the reflection always has to come after action. And I'm starting to realize that the more that you do and reflect, something don't add up right. You miss a lot of things. Have you ever been in a situation and you dealt with someone or something happened? I know I have. I've gone through so many things, and because I wasn't you know what I'm saying, like because I wasn't actively reflecting, by the time all this shit happened, I'm sitting back like, now hold on, wait a minute. If 2 plus 2 equals 4, and 4 plus 4 equals 8, then what the fuck was that? Like but I done missed it. The time that I should have took during the situation, or during the time that I knew God was telling me, I need you to sit and reflect. And I'm like, no, I need to go do something about it because, you know, change needs action. And if change needs action, and that means that if I want to level up, I have to do something about it. I'm learning that a large percentage of leveling up is reflecting. And I'm over here like, because think about it. At the beginning of the live, I was starting to sing that Lizzo song when she was like, call me Lizzie, I've been fat and I've been skinny, bitches still ain't fucking with me. You wouldn't have been able to notice that unless you reflected. I know it's just a general lyric, whatever, but isn't reflecting an action? You know what's so crazy? I would have to say it. If we look at it logically, reflecting is an action, but in reality, it is not. It is not. There's nothing that you have to do besides process the mind. I feel like when we reflect, we want to do. What happens when you reflect on something and there's actually nothing to do? You're reflecting so you can gain the wisdom. I reflected that me working harder doesn't make me more money. So if I reflected that me working harder doesn't make me more money, then why did I turn my reflection into action to now go back into a lack mindset, a survival mindset, to now find little gimmicks and little things to make me extra money? You know what's crazy? I was sitting over here and I was pulling cards and I thought of a Disney song. I didn't know what song, and it wasn't Milan, but I was like, there's a Disney song. Like it's like the little chant was like a like a Cinderella, like it just sounded like a Disney song. So it's so funny that you even brought up Milan because of the fact that, is it Milan Disney? Or is that Pixel? I don't know. But it's just so funny that the little tune of a Disney song popped up in my head. I didn't, this, a song did it, but how they start their songs. How they're always like, ha, ha. But I'm over here like, okay, reflecting, reflecting, reflecting. Why do we turn reflections into actions? Because of the fact of that we see it is Disney. Okay. We see reflection as an action because of the fact of that comes from our underlining thing of wanting to be perfect and control. We've turned reflection into an action instead of just a thing that we just mentally do. Reflection doesn't need to be an action. I don't something about reflection doesn't need to be an action because of the fact of you'll realize that you're working on a trauma or you're working on a thought that has nothing to do with you. The physical might be new, but the energetic is not new. So you're going to what? Reflect on something to do something different for the just for the physical to be, to think you're going to change the physical even though energetically it already is aligned that way. The reflection is only just supposed to be for the wisdom so you're able to move forward. There's actually nothing you need to autocorrect or you need to redo. We've really got accustomed to redoing and rewriting stories that are already written. That's why I said in the video yesterday, I don't care what nobody says. If your past life self gave you a book and was like, hey, yo, all of the things in this book is the wisdom for you to be successful in life. If you read it, would you truly understand it and comprehend it? I don't know about y'all, but I wouldn't. If my past self gave me a book and was like, so when you turn 28, this is gonna happen. This is the wisdom to get you through that. When you turn 29, this is the wisdom. This is gonna be how you get through that. I might have had some type of inkling knowing, but to actually pinpoint what the book was actually saying until I actually dealt with it, that wouldn't have made sense. Literally, when you read a lot of self-help books, you can only a reflect on past situations to actually understand what the book is saying, or you can b try to realize that what you're going through is a reflection of what you read. You will never be able to understand the wisdom or something being given to you until you actually experience it. So why are you continuously doing, and then reflecting on the first do? What did that do? Reflect more, do less. And don't reflect just more on the sense of like, the physical. Reflect on actually how you felt about it. What did you think about it? What was happening around it? So many people only reflect on one aspect of their life and then they're trying to figure out, well, why the fuck do I keep going through the same thing? Or why the fuck does it feel like I didn't catch on till late? Why does it feel like I'm the last person to know? Well, because you decided to do, and then you decided to reflect on the first do, and you still got four more do's to go. So now you're having to add up where A met B, B met C, C met D, D met E, and why the fuck that E already reflect about A. Don't you think that's a little bit too much time of thinking about things instead of us realizing maybe we should stop doing so fucking much, reflect a little bit more, so we'll be able to find out the wisdom in the situation sooner to release ourselves from the emotional attachment so we'll be able to thrive past it. The physical is new, the energetic is not. The energetic energy that you walk into something is because of the fact of that there is something you need to learn in situations. That's why I always said this. And the more that I'm living, the more I'm understanding why did I always say, utilize your karmic cycles as stepping stones. Utilize karmic people as your stepping stone. Because of the fact of your soul knew you had to experience that in order for you to pick up on the wisdom or the qualities that the situation brought out of you, it gave you, it showed you, whatever, it was still needed. And I think because of the fact that we are a society that has, and it's because a lot of us have it's because since generationally a lot of us have Pluto and Sagittarius. Well, I mean, I don't know about everybody generation, but I feel like majority of the people that in my collective that follow me, you have either Pluto and Sagittarius or Pluto and Scorpio. So if you think about that, Scorpios will work to the bone in order to be successful. It's not a bad thing in a way, but they overwork themselves. If you think about Sagittarius are also very overworker, overachievers. So when you look at the the underlining or the deep wound of success, it doesn't come from a place of reflection. It comes from a place of action. Scorpios could sit there and work hard, work hard, work hard, and they'll think about it years down the road. Like, damn, at 30, I didn't have to be working 3 jobs. I could have just did this and made this at that. But they didn't know that because they were so busy doing. Same thing with Sagittarius. Sagittarius is Jupiter energy. They're constantly trying to just expand. They don't actually understand the wisdom down the road until they realize, okay, look, if I actually invest in this, even though it might not be something now, it could be something in the future. Fast money is not always the best money. And that's what I kind of feel like. Fast action is not always not the best action. So I'm like, what is June truly going to be? And it was like, it's going to be a time of reflection. You're going to actually have to go down a list of thoughts, like literally break down the thoughts and break down the thoughts. It's a very Mercury energy. And I'm like, well, Jupiter has been in Gemini for over a year, and I'm not sure. I think Jupiter goes into Cancer next week. I said that's so funny. I was like, I think that's so funny and interesting that we're gonna wait until after Jupiter gets out of Gemini for us to start processing these thoughts, or for us to start categorizing our thoughts, or just us reflecting. When why the fuck were we doing that the whole year that Jupiter was in Gemini? And it was like, well, how could you actually reflect and process thoughts if the light side of you is over there having fake empathy and fake sympathy and all this caring, and the dark side of you is trying to get revenge and having all this ill intent? Where are you going to reflect from? Mind blown. Mind blown. Mind blown. I know that was a lot, but when I say I was mind blown when I heard that shit, I said, you're right. Because if I sit there and process and reflect on a lot of the things, the light side of me will say, that was so mean of you. That was rude. That was really fucking rude. The dark side be like, bitch, rude. That's the truth. And then you got the opposite, where the light side is like, you need to have grace for yourself. But the dark side of you is like, no, I gotta get that bitch. I gotta get that bitch back. I gotta make I gotta get that bitch back. The light side's like, no, you should forgive yourself and release, because in reality, their reflection of their actions are not a reflection of you, it's a reflection of them. But your dark side, like, no, I gotta get that motherfucker back. I gotta get that motherfucker back. You played in my face, bitch. I gotta get you back. How can you reflect on situations if those two energies are not at a point where they can truly understand? So while I'm thinking that Jupiter is going to expand our minds and the way we communicate, no, Jupiter decided to say, I'm going to sit down with the source. I'm going to expand the source, because the source is the reason why y'all can't reflect in the first place. Why would I have y'all expand the way you talk, the way you think? It's so funny. I'm thinking of Kendrick Lamar when he was like, I hate the way that you walk, the way that you talk. I hate the way that you dress. I hate the way that you sneak this. I literally, when I thought about that, I'm like, oh my God. When you reflect on what that motherfucker said, like, he basically was like, you know what? If I could just be honest, I hate the way that you walk, the way that you talk. That's a reflecting type of thing. And of course, that's a whole different situation. But y'all get what I'm trying to say? Like, it's like a matter of fact. But if you're having matter of fact moments outside of the equal version of the twins, there will be a very simple minded outlook on everything. So I'm like, okay, y'all in my mind right now. So I'm like, okay, I get that. Okay, but how can we grow from this? How do we grow from this? How do we implement a new way of living if we're already energetically aligned to what's coming? And so they were like, well, just think about it. If we spent the last year expanding the source of each energy, so you're able to see everything from a 360, not a 180, not a 90, not a 45, a 360 as a whole, that means that the foundation, the emotional foundation that you create, cannot be moved. And I was like, okay, well, I feel that over the years since COVID, I mean, we've all gone through some type of spiritual awakening multiple times. The whole collective has gone through some enlightenment, right? And so, I'm these are my thoughts, okay? Hear me out. So I'm like, the whole society has gone through something. You know what I'm saying? We're realizing, oh, of course I'm saving this, of course. Because I recorded a 20-minute video to put on Patreon. And maybe I might just make this available to Patreon. I don't know. I'll figure it out by the time I get through my thoughts. But I will save this nevertheless. So I'm sitting over here. I'm sitting over here and I'm like, okay, well, if this change or this outlook brought us to now a 360, right? And now we have a strong emotional foundation that can't be moved. Like I said, over the last 5 years, we've gone through a lot of spiritual awakening, regardless if you want to accept it or not. Everyone has evolved in some shape or form, right? And what it also makes me think of is that all the truths that we've also been exposed to where we're not as shocked. We're not as shocked. I'm not shocked of what I hear about the world. You hear me? I'm not as shocked. I'm not shocked about what I hear about the world. And what I thought was very interesting, that if you look at what's happening in society, I'm going to use the Chrisleys or the Christie, whatever. I'm going to use the Trump in that situation. I'm going to use that as an example. People are being pardoned for the things that they do because of the fact of, in some shape or form, they are seen as an asset to a foundation, right or wrong. Okay? When you look at what's happening, I'm going to use another example. When you look at what's happening with the New Orleans inmates, okay? If you look at each of their stories and you look at what's going on and who we're banking on to not get caught, what are we seeing about the truth of law enforcement? They would spend the most time and the most effort to find an inmate before they find a child. I'm going to use Miss Shirley as an example. Miss Shirley is being exploited by her mother to do meet and greets where there are grown men and grown adults to come see a child that is basically being an illusion of an adult of Miss Shirley. Because if y'all know, Shirley is normally like the old school grandma name. Not saying a kid can't be named Shirley, but it also makes me think of Shirley Temple. Shirley Temple was the white little girl with the curls. You're not shocked about what's going on, but what I feel like people are missing is that there's so much action that there's not enough reflection. If you reflect on everything that's happening with the inmate situation, that's ancestral. That's ancestral. Okay? When you look at the Shirley thing, that's ancestral. Shirley Temple was white. The original Shirley Temple was white. Miss Shirley comes in this one, black. The what's going on with Trump and the Chrisleys, let's be honest. I don't care what anyone says. You can call Trump a lot of things. I didn't vote for him, but I also don't vote, period, because of the fact that we don't have no say-so in this shit. That is a businessman. He knows for the fact of how first of all, Trump was a reality star. Let me let y'all know that this is how I know there's not a lot of reflection going on in the world. There's not a lot of the Diddy situation. There's not a lot of freaking reflection going on in the world. There's too much doing. And so I'm sitting over here and I'm like, well, I'm not shocked about all these things. And, they're like, well, of course you're not shocked because of the fact of you understand the underlying truth about certain things. And I'm like, okay, well, regardless of what's going on in the world, what does that have to do with me? The thing of reason, hold on. The reasons behind what is happening in the world is getting for us to understand that we don't reflect enough. We do too much. We do too much. We do too much and we don't reflect enough. If we did less and we reflected more, we'd realize that a lot of these situations are just symbolisms. A lot of things are hidden in plain sight. There's a lot of symbolisms. And I'm sitting over here like, well, these symbolisms are what? That we do not nurture our children and keep them safe at all cost. We do not think that the things that we have done to those that we have loved and that have passed away will not come back to haunt those that did it. We do not see the fact of that people can get away with anything because as long as power and money's involved, that's what the fuck the world is ruled by. And four, we do not allow the emotions that we feel to be analyzed and to be processed enough that it normally transmute into predator behavior. And you tell me why Saturn and Aries has an underlining of regret. You tell me why the energy of regret is amongst the collective. Because what does regret do for you? What does it do? Regret keeps you what? Be honest. I want everybody to think about this real quick. Because I'm telling you, I've been mind blown for the last 2 to 4 days. After I had that little emotional breakdown, I knew that was a breakthrough. Yesterday, I had to wash these braids. Bitch, I don't know about y'all, braids is heavy, but for some reason they said, wash your hair. And I've been procrastinating. But golly gee, I sure did wash this hair. And I said, wow, this wisdom has been hidden in plain fucking sight. What does regret do? I want everybody to think, and while y'all think, I'm going to pull. But what does regret do to society? What does it do? What does it do? What does regret do to society? Stop it. I ain't even have to go too far. I didn't even have to go too far. What is that I see? Keep you stagnant. What does regret do? It keeps you stagnant. Imagine regret over generations. Imagine that a situation is happening again generationally and everybody thinks it's a fucking joke and entertainment because they're so busy doing shit. Imagine that people can't see the generational curse of regret because they're too busy being entertained by shit. Wow. It's funny, but it's quite serious. And I'm over here trying to understand, why am I so detached from society right now? Why am I so detached from anything physical? And I'm literally up. I mean, when I say the energetic energy got me up, it's up on me. It's up on me. Like, damn, can I get at least 6 feet? No, energy's like, no. Because I don't think y'all are understanding the underlying issue. I told you it's the root. Here I am thinking that Jupiter is about to come through the moon. And it's about to make all these dreams and wishes come true. It makes me think of that TikTok where it's mocking the Disney thing. And it was like, and she gave zero fucks. And I'm over here like, why am I so detached from society? Here I am thinking that Jupiter's coming and it's going to put women on the map. It's going to bring us some nurturing. It's going to bring us ancestral healing. To my surprise, of being so naive, that with generational healing comes generational exposure. And so many people think generational exposure is singular. We are all a part of the red string of fate. We are all connected in some shape or form. I got to thinking about this situation. This is crazy. So my ex was into photography, but he was into exotic photography because he had a snake. And so what was interesting was the fact of that I remember I finally decided that I was going to go to a photo shoot with him. I went to a photo shoot and then he was like, I want you to be in the photo shoot. And I'm like, that's a little bit odd. Okay. I was like, but you know what? Whatever. I'm supportive. But at that time, I really didn't feel as sexy because I knew I had gained weight. I just didn't feel sexy, but I had red hair. And this is actually when we broke up, and we was doing that thing where you kind of like break up, get back together, and you see your ex, you like, damn, that motherfucker fine. Now y'all fucking whatever. So there happened to be another photographer there. And this photographer took my pictures. He took a very good liking into me. And not no funny shit. He wasn't disrespectful, wasn't weird, none of that. Fast forward, I had already been working at the place that I was working at the hospital. Fast forward, my manager that hired me, we were talking and came down the road. She says, I've seen you before. And I said, what the fuck is you saying? What the fuck have you seen me? You see me like, in the hospital or something? I ain't never been over here. What the fuck is you saying? She goes, no. My husband is a photographer. Hear me. This was an exotic photo shoot. Bitches in lingerie. Bitch in lingerie. And she said, how do you know her? And he said, well, she was at the photo shoot with another photographer and an exotic animal bringer. She said, well, she works at the hospital with me. And I said, well, that's crazy. Because not only do you know me on a professional level, you now know me on a personal level that I didn't realize that you knew me of. So hear me when I say we are all connected in some way. I'm going to give you another example. One of the men that are the inmates that escaped from the New Orleans prison, his grandmother was killed by police. He escaped a facility of police officers. Police officers take escape as a humiliation ritual. You hear me? New Orleans plantation burned down. New Orleans plantation burned down. New Orleans inmates escaped a prison of what a plantation used to be to slaves. We are all connected in some way, people. Some shape or form, you're connected. Whether you know it in this physical life or you don't. The generational curse of regret is what is amongst us. And people are not realizing that it is showing in the physical and people can't see it. They're thinking it's entertainment. They're finding it funny. It's funny, but it's quite serious because this is just a reflection of the emotion of regret from the past. That manager was a Leo. My moon is a Leo. Where I have the moon in my chart, her sun reflected it. If I could be honest, it was another thing of regret. When I decided that I wanted to quit that job, I said, I got to get the fuck up out of here. And she said, well, what are you going to do? I said, I don't know. It doesn't matter, but I can't be fucking here. I remember the day I quit and I finally talked to her, like my last day, she cried. I saw her months later and she was just like, what's going on? I said, living life, honestly. I'm just living life. And she was just like, wow, like you really jumped the fucking ship. It was bravery. It was courage because there was an underlining of regret. I'm telling y'all, what you're seeing in the world is a reflection of generational regret. I asked what this energy was about. I didn't even have to go far what it is. The death card came up. Majority of society of our collective is either Pluto in Scorpio, Pluto in Sagittarius. They have a huge thing of regret because they're always doing. There's no reflection. Their underlying deep wound is the fact that they feel that they don't do enough. They fear their own power of outcomes because they don't feel that they're doing enough. They need the recognition. They need the highlight. They need to see results. Jupiter needs to see results. Mars needs to see results. Pluto needs to see results. I'm telling y'all now, the reason why we're over here sitting there dissecting these thoughts, and I'm over here dissecting all these downloads, is because of the fact of you need to pick up on the energy quickly. or you will go down a rabbit hole of another cycle of regret. Regret shows up in so many different ways. And if Saturn literally sees you as the most powerful, precious, delicate thing right now, I'm telling you, you need to release regret. I basically posted this on my FaceTime page, right? This is what I'm telling you. Don't be shady and all that extra shit. It's not the time for it. All that cattiness and shit like that, let that shit ride. I was in the car. It was funny, but it was quite serious because what the fuck? I was in the car and this person was in front of me. They were parallel parking. I felt she parked too close to me. So, of course, I started talking shit. Me talking shit, I pulled out my food. My food fell almost on the fucking floor, but I caught it before. But see, if that wasn't a prime example of God don't like ugly and you really should mind your business, that was it. Because first of all, I had already been craving the fucking sandwich. So for me to be craving something and it almost fall on the fucking floor, instant karma. Instant karma. Instant. So what I'm telling y'all is let that energy of regret go. I don't know. At this point, I'm just going to be honest with y'all. If something seems energetically familiar, but in the physical, it doesn't look the same or it looks new, excuse me, thank you. I want you to go with what you feel over what you see. You go into a situation. I'm going to give you another example. You go into a new situation, you go into a new job. This job is a promotion. It's new. You're not used to being around people that wear suits. You're not used to around people that actually speak in sentences. You're not used to this environment, but your energy is quite aware. It's very comfortable in this. This is actually where you thrive, where there was a lot of small talk, where there was a lot of like, well, what are you guys feeling and what are you guys thinking? You're now in rooms where they tell you directly what they need, what needs to be done, and what are the results. I want you guys to not get in those rooms and be like, yeah, I'm not supposed to be here. Energetically, you actually are very comfortable in this. That's what you've asked for because it physically isn't as micromanaging. It isn't as physically intimidating. You're going to find it to be intimidation. You know why? Because there's a part of you that regretted when you didn't speak up in those rooms that's coming up now. Where you used to regret things in past lives in the past, they're going to come up now. And the best way to fight the feeling of regret is to know you are worthy. That you did exactly what you had to do in the time that you did it. Don't mean you got to do it again. So when I'm seeing them do a meet and greet for a 4-year-old and ain't no other fucking children there, energetically, she knows she's supposed to be a star. They are failing that child. And you know, here's what I feel. Call this a stretch. Call this a stretch. Call this a stretch. Miss Shirley is the grandma. And I know for a fact of look, call this a stretch. Call me crazy. But I'm telling y'all what I feel deep in my spirit. The grandma is the baby. That mama is the daughter of that grandma. Whatever past life it is. And in the lifetime that the mom was the daughter and the grandma was the grandma or the mom, she couldn't be a star. She stole some money from her in some way to where she didn't get to get the glory of her being in the spotlight. And in this lifetime, that's why she's exploiting that little girl. I don't care that the little girl be fed. See, that's the thing about parents. That's the thing about mother energy. That's the thing about Jupiter and Cancer. People have this illusion that if you house somebody, you feed them, you know what I'm saying, you do the necessities of what a normal human being would do for another human being, because that's how human beings need to live, that actually just exempts the abuse. That's something that Jupiter and Cancer is going to do. It's going to highlight that. Remember I was telling you how mothers, you know what I'm saying? That's one thing that I never did with my mother. Y'all know, me and my mama don't talk. I don't talk to her. I don't acknowledge her. I don't talk to her. I don't have no hate for her. It's not that I don't love her, but there's a strong boundary there. And as I'm going deeper into the energy and as I'm walking into this shit, the boundary, not even for everything of the physical of this lifetime, the boundaries of lifetimes before. So when I'm telling people that the reason why y'all are seeing a highlight of moms, you know what I'm saying, start to show their true colors about their daughter. There's that girl on TikTok where her mother and her, they were doing videos together, and you could just literally see her deteriorating from the inside out of sadness, but they have already built a platform of feeling obligated to a certain amount of money, amount of exposure, where the jealousy will always trump all, the envious, the regret. The reason why we are seeing all these things happen with men and women when it comes to housing, of the things that you feel like you're supposed to do. Well, I gave you clothes to have on your back. I gave you food to have in your stomach. I gave you somewhere to sleep. I gave you power. I gave you this. If it come like that, it's because it comes from a past life of regret. And people are basically saying, I gave you the basic necessities of nurturing. You should be okay with my abuse. You should be okay with how I treat you. You should be okay with what I do. You should be okay with that. You need to understand that is a lie. That's a lie. And I'm over here like, nah, that's not happening. That's not happening. They were like, no, that's 110% why it's happening. That's why I said when Jupiter gets in Cancer, a lot of y'all need your own spot because you need your own energy to cultivate a new power within you. I'm telling y'all, I'm processing and I'm saying, well, golly gee. And I just keep hearing in my head, I've been fat and I've been skinny. Bitches still ain't fucking with me. How would you have known that if you didn't reflect? When that happens? When what? Oh, Jupiter in Cancer? You want to know? Next Thursday. One of the rules I always had between me and my mom, and I started to think about this too, was how I never fought my mom. That's a lineage thing. That's a lineage thing. My mom fought her mama. I'm pretty sure that my grandma got into it, my great grandma. But one thing, a cycle that was broke there, because that's the energy of regret. You will always regret fighting your mama. Your mama will always regret trying to fight you, because the fight was never, a lot. I told you, a lot of mothers were in regret. And see, what happened was a lot of children couldn't separate themselves from the actual. There's an invisible. I don't know if y'all know this, but there's an invisible umbilical cord to your mother. It don't matter how old you get. It don't matter what happens. There's an invisible umbilical cord, and if you don't cut that umbilical cord, because the umbilical cord is the passage for the nutrients of the mother to pass through the baby. The energy of the baby, of like turning motherhood, a woman into motherhood, is it goes back into that. Okay, there is an invisible umbilical cord that has to be cut. Yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna give y'all an example. Be, right now, there's an illusion over women of seeing that babies aren't that serious to have. That's scary. That's very scary. There's an illusion over motherhood. That's scary. That's very scary. I don't think y'all understand how scary that is. Because if there's an illusion over motherhood, that means there's an illusion over creativity of the world. Um, Women raise the frequency of the universe, and there's no other way you can tell me. People are like, oh, how do we raise the energy? How do we raise the frequency of the world? How do we, women, how do we raise the frequency of the world? Women. Women. That's why the propaganda that people are not falling for of having a baby, out of wedlock or having a baby out of a feeling of lack. That's why the women that have children are like, oh nah, baby, I don't have to go through this again. I'm telling you. There's an illusion over motherhood. If there's an illusion over motherhood, there's an illusion over creativity of the world. That's why we're having to get these women out of the mindset of that, regardless of what you're being provided for, you don't have to. We are not in societies, we're not in a world to where you need a man for a bank account anymore. That's what I'm saying. If you're going to be a hoe, be a smart hoe. Period. If you're going to deal with somebody, always make sure it's accommodating. And at the very moment the accommodations don't meet your standards anymore, just leave. I don't want you guys to ever I don't want you guys to ever lose sight of wanting, true love or wanting don't ever lose sight of that shit. But I'm telling you now, you don't have to deal with certain things because of what you feel society tells you need to deal with. There's an illusion of you are under spells, people. This is an everlasting spell. Do you not know how spells are broken? Spells are broken through reflection. You got to pinpoint at the very moment that the spell started affecting you. That's why when people be like, oh, they put it. That's why when people be telling all these bitches that be sitting there burying people's drawers in the damn yard and putting blood in their spaghetti, bitch, you need to be careful about shit like that. Because once somebody starts processing that they're under a spell, that's when they start to retaliate because you took away their free will. That's why love spells be going wrong. That's why certain little spells that people be doing. That's why I had to explain to y'all, you can't just be doing magic in other people's house. It's not saying that. You know what I'm saying? You can't do it. It might not go in the favor you think. So, you know what I'm saying? You burning a candle in somebody's house trying to bring yourself prosperity, and look what the fuck you done did. Now all of a sudden the person asking you for more money, the person over here trying to figure out, they pocket watching. I told y'all, these are regretful energies. People regret why they didn't take the leap of faith through how they see what you got going on. People's regret turns into envy, which always stem from their insecurities. And as I said, an insecure person is one of the most deadly people in the world. They'll do anything. Remind me of that show, My Baby is a Vampire. When the spell backfired, everybody started trying to kill them. The Justin and Hailey Bieber situation. Here's my thing about the Justin and Hailey Bieber situation. Justin Bieber is fighting demons. Okay? And we know the demons that he's fighting. Hailey or Halle Bieber, if I could be honest with you, she's taking those demons and she's transmuting them. My advice to her, to be honest, is that get your money and slide. Pisces men, I don't think Justin Bieber will be spiteful to Halle, honestly, because he's not. People are like, oh, he's embarrassing her. He's embarrassing her. No, he's not. He's fighting demons. I think so many people are going to have to understand that men's healing are a reflection of what they're going through. How they're treating women these days are a reflection of them. We are putting too much power and energy and emphasis on men's actions towards a woman as a reflection of her. Y'all saying that man is embarrassing her, and this bitch is out here fucking signing $1 billion deals. He ain't that much too in a fucking way. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. Like, a lot of the men's actions towards women right now, they honestly are not stopping shit. At the end of the day, every situation that a woman is in with a man, that woman is gaining something out of it. It's if she's going to see it or not. A lot of women are not wanting to see it. And that's the part that pisses me the fuck off. Because if you let a man be your downfall, you already is the weakest bitch in the room. You could literally still be with a bullshit ass nigga and still be on the up and ups. You know why? Because of the fact of you don't pour that energy into him, you pour it into yourself. I'm telling you guys, when parties of one become parties of two, there is an automatic thing of codependency. So what people do is the emotional security that they have within their self, they allow the emotional insecurity to be projected. A projection is just a reflection of a deflection of someone's accountability. They're deflecting what you are already mirroring to them. If someone sees emotional security and they're emotionally insecure, the mirror already shows, oh my God, you are not bothered. The thing about it is they know that you are not truly bothered by what they're doing in their own insecurities. How people fuck up is the fact of that they allow the projection to now become their reality. And then once they wake up or they get these little like moments of clarity, reflection instead of doing, because what happens is people take the projection of the emotional insecurity and they think that if I do something, I can bring a little bit of stability into the situation. There's nothing you can do but continue to do you. Because if you continue to do, what you will feel is regret when this person starts doing what you always wanted them to do away from you. So because you decided that you pour more energy into this instead of you, that's why I'm trying to tell you, you have to be an individual in situations. Period. We have no individuality because we have no identity. We have no identity because we are stuck in the rut of regret. We are under spells, people. We are, that is a spell. That's a spell. I mean, I don't know how much more to explain shit right now because the world is not seeing we are under spells. That's a spell. If something outside of you is creating now there to be an energetic lack within you, that is a spell, people. You listening to me, you're taking what I'm saying into consideration. It's getting something in you turn, getting the mind working to factor that you are starting to click things together. Words are spells. So if I think people always just see spells as a bad thing, and that's also a fucking propaganda. I will never fall for it because, bitch, I told you. Don't ever underestimate a motherfucker that you don't really know truly about them because of what they don't display their hand. You ain't never seen me have to do certain things, wear crystals and nuts and have locks in my head and, you know what I'm saying, walking around with dots and glitter and fur. That ain't my thing. It was never my thing. It was never my aesthetic. But whatever wasn't my aesthetic didn't mean that I didn't do what I did. Whatever was my aesthetic didn't mean that I didn't get down with what I got down with. I never have lied about the fact that I believe in magic spells, hoodoo, voodoo, prayer, the Bible, ancestors. I said that. I literally said that 4 years ago. And there's a video that says, I believe in astrology. I believe in ancestors. I believe in the Bible. I believe in spirit guides. I believe in it all. Tarot. I believe in it all because I know for a fact of that we're all singing the same song, just in a different tune. But at the end of the day, don't ever underestimate someone's aesthetic because of the fact that they won't display their hand or what they got going on. So when I tell y'all that words are spells, things are spells, I'm telling you that in the sense of there's a negative and a positive. The world wants us to highlight the negative of spells, not realizing that, bitch, every day you're under a fucking spell. It's the fact of that you don't create the spell yourself in order to survive the world. That's what I have a problem with. That's where the underlying regret comes from. There is a spell that was cooked up decades, centuries, generations ago. And over this collective of people, who we are in this world now, this propaganda, I mean, not propaganda, this predicament that we're in now as a society. And I'm telling you, it's over a course of a certain amount of years. And I want to say, to be honest, I'm going to say, I don't want to, are we near the end of a century? Hold on. When does the next century start? Okay, so a decade is 10 years. Okay, a century is that 100? Hold on. Contrary to popular belief, the 21st century and the third millennial did not begin on January 1st, 2000, but 1 year later on New Year's on 2000 in 2000. 2001. 100 years from 2001 is 2101. I believe over this century there is a spell that you will regret to find your power. And everything that literally highlights your power and for you to become who you are, you will regret it. And you have to fight that energy of regret. I believe that. I believe that. I believe over the century since 2001, there is a spell over our collective, over our world of regret. Because it makes me think of that saying when it was like everything you do you'll regret. And this people, the actions are based off what they regret. People regret that they didn't heal, that's why they steal. People regret that they didn't show up for themselves, that's why they're envious. There is a spell of regret. I might tell a joke, but I never tell a lie. There is an energy of a spell of regret. What is the Ten of Swords? I need words. The Ten of Swords often signifies painful and abrupt ending, a crisis, a sense of rock bottom. It also can represent deep wounds, betrayal, or the feeling of being utterly defeated. While it can indicate regret, it's also a card of new beginnings and a chance to heal, to move forward. Hello? Are we on the air? In other contexts, the Ten of Swords, it says it can represent a time of blinding truth. Well, disillusionment is lifted, and the individual faces a painful but necessary reality. And you know what's so funny? When I went to the Botanica, when I went to the Botanica, the cards all had death on it. It was like death bring money, death bring justice, death bring clarity, death bring this. And I was like, at first I was a little bit suspicious because why would death bring this? And I forget that death is just another way of rebirth. That's why the download about what happens when people die, that they actually only their physical dies, but their spirit is what you needed in order to survive. So that's why I was telling certain people, like, certain people have to die in order for you to get the truth out of certain things, or for you to see certain things, because their spirit will release certain things. Their soul still has a mission. I don't think a lot of people understand that. The soul still has a mission. So once again, the physical is new, but the energy is not. You're under spells, people. You know, I kind of miss this little life. I think I like this little life. I think I miss this little life. I think I miss this little life. I did. I think I missed this part of my life. It's not that I needed them, but I think I miss the visual illustrations of my thoughts. The physical illustrations of our conversations. Like I missed this part of my life, because with the Queen of Swords and the Four of Pentacles here, that's exactly what the fuck I'm saying. A lot of people think this can be standoffish. I see this as being very stable, mind, body, and soul. And the Queen of Swords here is definitely giving me, speak your truth or forever hold your peace. The sword is up. Say what you need to say. I love the fact of that she holds the sword in the right hand, which is masculine energy, but the left hand is being very receptive. Speak your truth or forever hold your peace. Regret should never stay on your heart. Excuse me. Okay, hold on. Like the movie Ghost with Whoopi. I think I remember that movie. Let me see. I think I remember that movie. Oh my God, yeah. Let me see. You know, somebody else told me to watch this movie with Marilyn Monroe. Once again, direct symbolism. I really did. I missed this little life. So here's the interpretation that I feel from this one. The Three of Cups is here. Okay. Thank you. The Three of Cups is here. Two of them are in red, one is in white. The two people in red are the people that feel the energy of regret. The two people that I see have red on, they are the people of regret. Out of every three people, there are two people that are under the spell of regret, and there's one person fighting it. One person is fighting it. Having to dissect your downloads and dissect your thoughts is fucking crazy. I want some sushi. We're gonna get one more, and we're gonna close this out because the Knight of Pentacles in reverse is the Knight of Pentacles is always like slow. Like I said, the Knight of Pentacles is very slow moving. Ain't nothing slow about this energy no more. I don't know about y'all, but I don't see nothing slow about this energy. There's nothing slow happening in the world right now. Everything is happening at a very rapid pace. That's why they keep saying, like, I don't even know why you even think to rush. You know, you're rushing things that are already pre-written, and you don't even understand that this one move that you're making, this one situation, this change that that's happening, baby, that is already going to be a catapult into something different. Just remember, I told y'all yesterday, wealthy people are big on location. So if your spirit is wealthy and you're following an energetic flow, that means that it's all about location. So just the fact of that you put yourself in a different location, it catapults you into something different. Your environment, you're a product of your environment. Once you decide to change your environment, 9 times out of 10, people don't walk into environments. It makes me think of how people that like are always, you know, in the hood or something like that or whatever, how they walk into a certain environment and they immediately feel uncomfortable and they feel like they gotta walk out. Regret. Regret. You don't stumble into new parts of town, or you don't stumble into new environments because of the fact of you just happen to be adventurous that day. Y'all do know that, right? You don't walk into new environments and new places because it's because you're energetically supposed to be there. And so the first thing I keep hearing is the fact of that if you're being catapulted into a new environment, that's because of the fact of you're already living whatever the qualities of that environment brings. And if you're already living the qualities that that environment brings, that means that that energy of regret is something that you will constantly have to transmute into worthiness and acceptance of where you are now. How the fuck are you regretting something that you did 2 months ago and it's June? If you start accepting it, you will see through a lot of your situations differently. I think if more people actually stomach what they did instead of fighting the energy of regret, they'll get through their consequences a lot differently. The perspective and the lifestyle will change. If you're constantly in a energy of regret, you will constantly be attached to people that act out of regret. So you think the whole time they acting out of trauma. No, they're acting out of regret of something that they wish they would have did differently. Mothers treating their babies certain ways. Women that have kids, and I'm not everybody, but y'all know that whole thing about it was against moms that have kids and moms don't have kids. Men that decided to marry somebody that they don't like compared to the men that are married to women that they do like. The women that decided that they don't want to be married just for no fucking reason, that they rather be single. Everything is back is basically off of energy of regret. So you're going to see people act out of their regret. That's what they're acting out of. I had to come to this epiphany of the fact of that, oh my God. And this doesn't make the things that people do right. But I realized that a lot of people have never actually been with someone that they actually like. They've never actually been with someone that they actually love. And it's not out of like out of a like they actually have true feelings for them. A lot of people have not actually been with someone that they have a purity about. So what they do is they act out of the regret of that. They haven't. I'm telling y'all, a lot of people are not friends with people that they actually like. They're not at jobs that they actually like. They're not with people that they actually like. They haven't dealt with that. So how they act towards that person is just a reflection of them. I'm going to give y'all an example. If a man has never been with women that are a dream girl, why a man treats his dream girl in a weird way at times, and it ends up whatever the lesson is, whatever. I'm giving you an example. Why he ends up treating his dream girl like crazy is because of the fact of he regrets that he has never been with anyone that he actually fucking likes. So what happens is the mindset that he was the prize with all the other ones starts to come up. And so he has to fight that sense of regret. Like, damn, I could have did this and I could have did this and I could have did that. But instead they act out of that regret. So what they do is they don't even consciously do it. They can't even figure out why they're doing it because they've never been with someone that they liked. So when you're with someone that you like, it's all foreign. If you're at a job that's never respected you and you get to a job, regret also is a form of self-sabotage. Thank you. They self-sabotage situations out of regret. All these things stem from regret. And I'm over here thinking, oh my God, self-sabotage is because of this. Okay, and they do this because of this. No, I realize that the underlying, the root, once again, we're getting to the root of it, is regret. It's regret. The healing to release the lack of regret. You don't regret anything. Lay it to rest. Lay it to rest. Why are you out here regretting everything? Lay it to rest. Swim away. Call me Lizzie. I've been fat and I've been skinny. Bitches still ain't fucking with me. How you know that? How you know that? Reflection. That's going to be our word for the day. Reflection. Remember? Yeah. They regret it. Hell, people regret shit that they ain't even fucking did. Ooh, I felt that in my stomach. People regret shit that they ain't even fucking did yet. How you regret if you ain't even fucking did it yet? Shit ain't even there yet. Shit ain't even there yet. The offer ain't even there yet. The thing hadn't even been solidified and you already regretting this shit. How you regret shit you ain't even did yet? Huh? You ain't even did the shit yet. You ain't even made the decision to do it yet and you were already regretting it. Oh, I miss this little life. I gotta find me a sushi place to go to because I want some sushi. I don't know. Sushi's just so feminine. And don't fight me, okay? Don't be like, oh gee, how is sushi feminine? I don't know. It just gives feminine vibes. It gives like, like, oh, we're just going for a sushi date. I don't know. It just gives those vibes. I just want to go with my iPad. Seriously, I just want to go with my iPad and I want to go with my journal and I just want to put my headphones in and I just want to either watch a movie or I just want to be my own little world. That's it. That's all I want to do. I've been fat and I've been skinny. Bitches still ain't fucking with me. How do you know that? Reflection. I just keep hearing that. How do you know that? Reflection. Sushi Umi. One of these sushi places I went to, it was fire. It's the chopsticks. It's the chopsticks. It might be. Cause I'm damn sure about to go get something. It's just so girly. It's so feminine. But yeah, y'all. We are under spells, people. An everlasting spell at that. That's what's even crazy. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm honestly scared. You know, they always say, like, it makes me think when people say things about, like, fearful people, how those are like, you know, you'll never want to be around somebody that's too scared or some shit. Because, you know, you'll never know what they'll do. That's how I feel about people that are acting out of regret. I'm scared. Because you're not even regretting things that you already did. You ain't even did shit yet. You ain't even did shit yet. That's not scary to y'all? That's so scary to me. People, they don't even be doing shit. They ain't even did the shit yet. They already acting out of regret. That's crazy to me. That's why people are so disappointing. But you know, we'll see. We will see. I think the reason why I'm like very optimistic about the situation because of the fact of I know motherfuckers can't stay in the energy for long. The longer they stay in it, the more they won't even be able to be around somebody. Like the longer that they stay in it, the more that they will repel those that are actually fighting out of it. For every three people you see, there's only one person that's fighting against the energy of regret. That's a scary place. That's actually very nerve wracking. I don't know if you think about that, that's very nerve wracking. You trying to tell me out of every three people, not 100, not 1,000,000, not 1,000, out of every three people, there's only one person? That's kind of scary. That's a little bit nerve wracking to me. I want better for us as a society, I'll tell you that. I don't feel like we're actually meant to be in this energy of struggle. Like, I don't think that as a society we're meant to be like that. But, you know, hey. What Future say? Evil world we live in. Evil world we live in. Evil world we live in, baby. I think we got to get out of that shit. It's not healthy. It's not healthy. Like, it's just not healthy. When I look at society and I look at what's going on, you could tell something ain't adding up right. Like, and it's like, you be wanting to ask people, like, this normal to you? Like, what do you mean? Is this normal? Like, your behavior. Like, I'm one of them people, like, if I could be so real with y'all, I have to get to the logic of it. And I know people be like, oh, that's not, people do be knowing what the fuck they doing. But, like, at this point in time in life, with the people that I have around me, like, I need to actually know, like, what the fuck really going on in your mind? Because I've already taken me out the situation. I've already realized that I ain't taking shit personal. I'm going to say what I say. I'm going to feel what I feel. And I'm going to tell you how I feel about it. And I'm going to tell you what I think about it. But I'm not going to overconsume myself with the situation to burden my heart and burden my mind. So I'm going to ask you to explain your fucking self. I need to hear the explanation of shit. And motherfuckers, they fighting demons. Motherfuckers is fighting demons, bro. They fighting real hard shit right now. And I don't think y'all realize, like, People is fighting very hard shit right now. And it's crazy because it all stems from regret. And that's a scary thing. Like, why the fuck are you acting like that? That is very questionable. To live in the energy of regret. Let's ask Sister Girl what happens when people live in the energy of regret. Hold on. New conversation. What happens when people live in the energy of regret? Sister Girl said, living in the energy of regret can have a profound impact on a person's mental, emotional, even physical well-being. Regret is a backwards looking emotion, often tied to guilt, disappointment, or even a sense of loss over what could have been. Here's what tends to happen when people stay stuck in that energy: emotional paralysis. Regret often keeps people mentally anchored in the past. They replay scenarios and dwell on the what ifs and struggle to move forward. This can lead to procrastination, indecisiveness, a fear of taking new risks for fear of repeating mistakes, chronic self criticism. Regret is closely tied to self blame. People may internalize failures and develop a harsh inner critic saying things like, I should have known better, I ruined everything. This can erode self-esteem and self-worth over time. Anxiety and depression. Unresolved regret often fuels anxiety about repeating the past or making future decisions. Depression, due to a sense of hopelessness or missed purpose. Studies even show that long-term regret is a significant contributor to depressive symptoms. Disconnection from the present. People consumed by regret often disengage from their current life. They may find it difficult to enjoy relationships, work, or even leisure because their mental energy is focused on something that cannot be changed. The physical impact it could do. Chronic emotional stress from regret can lead to poor sleep, muscle tension, digestive issues, and a weakened immune response. Stunted growth. When you're living in regret, you may miss the lesson that mistakes offer. Instead of growing from the experience, regret can freeze you in the cycle. Relationship strain. Regret can cause people to isolate themselves, overcompensate, or underfunction in relationships, project blame or shame onto others. The healing tip says transform regret into reflection. Let me say it again, just to make sure everybody's hearing me in the back. The healing tip of regret: transform regret into reflection. Regret doesn't have to be a dead end. It can be transformed into self-awareness, accountability, and compassion. When acknowledged and processed, regret can become a powerful motivator for change, gratitude, and wise decision making. Just be doing shit. Why do you just be doing shit? It take you so long to reflect on some shit because you're always doing some shit. And you're doing shit out of regret. What you should have did better, so now you're doing it now. People failed relationships are what's keeping them in stupid shit. People are being blessed. And I think one thing about it is a lot of people that don't understand is that a lot of people are with narcissists. Okay, you're with someone that they show narcissistic behavior. Okay, you are a narcissist's worst nightmare because of the fact that you not only make that narcissist feel everything, but they also feel that you see everything. Thank you. You see everything. You not just feel it, you see it. You're here to break the exterior and the interior of a narcissist. Empaths. You remember I know I told you everybody says they're a fucking empath? You know how I know that empaths are doing their job is because of the fact that where they used to let a narcissist bring them down, they are now utilizing narcissists to level up. Because the fuck I need to see empathy for? The fuck do I need to see the true You know what I'm saying? Why do I need to base my responses to you off of how I know who you really are? No, who you are to be is what I'm going to level up off of. Because in reality, if you level up off of a narcissist, what they actually truly are, you will constantly fall into a people pleasing ways. If you level up on what a narcissist is showing to be, you will break that narcissist down. Keep telling them the truth. Keep telling them the truth. Keep telling them the fucking truth. Keep making sure you make it very clear. Your decisions aren't a reflection of who I am and my worth. This is a reflection of you. So many people think that they can run away from narcissism, but I'm so sorry to tell you, our world is surrounded by it. Why? Because narcissists are filled with regret. It's funny, but it's quite serious. Narcissists are filled with regret. Why are you trying to run from a narcissist? The world is filled of them. So if out of every 3 people, 2 of them are in regret, that means out of every 3 people, 2 people are narcissists. And when two people that are the ones that are fighting the regret meet, there's always this underlying understanding and wisdom. Thank you. It's just nothing but pure wisdom being shown between each one of the individuals. The person that is in the energy of regret, they have something to prove. There's no point to be proven. If you're fighting, actively fighting the energy of regret, there's no point to be proven. It literally speaks for itself. Why do y'all think that I built a platform in a bed? You and I both know that I do not just be in this fucking bed. But what I got going on don't got nothing to do with the world. I let people in on certain things that I do and certain things that I go through because of the fact of it's just like you got to feel some type of closeness to me in some way. And because I do basically share majority of my wisdom with you, why can't I share my life in a way? But in reality, there's no point to be proven of the things that I've taught over the years. If you can't feel that a bitch is being blessed through just looking at me, then you are already 10 steps behind. That's why I can see people that have more than me literally be feeling like they're empty inside. Lotto just did an interview and she basically just said being a millionaire is boring. Having a whole bunch of money, being rich is boring. Well, I don't know if she said millionaire, excuse me. Let me correct myself. She just said it's boring. Why is it boring? Because of the fact of she doesn't have people on her level. I think she somewhat regrets becoming successful. I think she regrets having so much drive. And I feel like a lot of Capricorn energy, they're going to feel that. It's coming from Jupiter and Cancer because I told y'all Aquarius and Leo, Cancer and Capricorn are the only zodiacs that don't share a planet with people. I know people are like, oh, well, Saturn is Aquarius and Capricorn. Okay, whatever, bitch. Aquarius is Uranus, Capricorn is Saturn. If you feel like they're the same, I'm not gonna argue with you. That's your views. But they're only 4 zodiacs that don't share a planet with anybody. You know what I mean? Like Pisces, even though Pisces rules Neptune, it still shares Jupiter. Taurus, Venus, it shares Libra. Mercury, Gemini, and Virgo. Mars, Aries, and Scorpio. So when you think about it, those are the only 4 signs that don't share a planet. So right now, Jupiter's not only just expanding the emotional foundation, it's expanding how people see authority in their emotions. And I'm telling you, I feel that a lot, and this also comes from people that have Capricorn placements and also people that have, what is the generational thing? Pluto and Capricorn? Or is it Pluto? No. What do we have? I don't know. The generational thing that we've been going on as a society with that Capricorn energy, I'm probably thinking of the wrong planet. Whatever. The the thing about it is that a lot of people regret going as hard as they did because of the fact of they didn't realize that other people was mooching off their hard work. Because Capricorns are so hardworking, they also are very giving, and because if they see stability within themselves, that means they see it for longevity. It's Saturn. Saturn is longevity. That's why I always tell y'all, people be like, oh, you need to be blessed by Jupiter. Why would you want, I'm not saying you don't want to be blessed by Jupiter, but if I had to pick a planet to be blessed by, it'd be Saturn. Because I have, bitch, I'm locked in on some Saturn shit. You know what I'm saying? That's why I had to get over the concept of I was behind. I'm only getting finer by the day. I'm only getting more wealthier and richer by every year that I age. Like, baby, a lot of things had to come with my wisdom. Because too many people would have been able to leech off me. Seriously. All I got now is words of wisdom. That's all I got now. When before I had money, I was giving out money, but I was giving out money and didn't even fucking have money to give. So imagine me now, I have money to give and I'm not giving no money. The fuck? That's not wise. I don't got shit but wisdom to give a motherfucker now. Seriously. And I think a lot of the people that have Capricorn placements are going to feel that energy where they're going to regret their success. Because it's like, I went so hard and nobody's here with me. I went so fucking hard and there's nobody with me. I'm bored. No. You just realize you're in regret. And I think regretting your hard work is probably one of the most undermining things you can do to your belief system. Just accept it. People ain't where I'm at. It's cool. I've accepted a lot of things that I've made a life decision to say, am I going to let the world into my business a little bit more? When I say a little bit more, a little bit more. But I don't regret not being as open on my social media in order for me to gain the follower and the recognition that I feel that I deserve. I'm not going to sit here and try to lie to y'all. I do not want people all up in my fucking business that way. I don't. You don't need to know who I'm dating. You don't need to know where I work. You don't need to know what I do for money. I'm not scamming, no drugs. I don't sell no pussy. Everything is legit, I promise you. But I don't feel the need to tell people that. I just don't. I don't need to tell people my resources. I don't need to do that. I just don't. And if that means that I might not get the exposure and the timing that I feel, and it might take me a little bit longer because I'm actually teaching people shit, so be it. So be it. I can only give so much because I feel like that's my boundary. And I think a lot more people need to embody a boundary of themselves and just accept it. If you start accepting certain situations, you will not allow the energy of regret to be your outcome. Because every outcome that you receive through regret, you will constantly feel like you failed yourself. You will constantly feel like those around you didn't support you enough. You will constantly be codependent. I don't need no fucking handouts. I don't need nobody to sit there and be all, no, I don't need that. Everything I got because I deserved it. Whatever somebody gave to me as a resource, I deserve to get as a resource. I don't need the pity. And I think that's what a lot of people are going to walk into, where they're going to feel pity. They're going to want people to have empathy and grace. We don't want the recipe to your mama's peach cobbler, bitch. Nobody asked for it. You asked us, did we want a piece of pie? Yeah. Then you over here talking about, well, do y'all want to learn how to make it? Hell no. You already made the cake, the pie. What do I need to learn how to make it for? If I want the pie again, I'll come to your ass. And now people regretting it. Oh, I could have made money off my pie. Why? You originally made the pie out of the kindness of your heart. That's why I said people don't be doing shit for the right reasons. You don't do shit for the right reasons. And I'm just, look, I told people the truth. And I can't do nothing but tell people the truth because I know it's some bullshit going on. And I can feel it. And I'm just like, you know that song I keep hearing, I just heard in my head? It's a song by Chance the Rapper. And the beginning of the song says, you don't want zero problems, my nigga. We don't want no problems. Just be some dreadheads niggas in your lobby. That's exactly what the song is. You don't want no problem, want no problems with me. You don't. Because this is ancestral. People think that they beef is very, very muggle. This is ancestral. That's why I said I got instant karma for talking shit to that lady about her damn parking spot. Her ancestors said, bitch, clock that tea. Watch your mouth. You know what song comes to mind as well? Is Roman's Revenge. And she was like, Roman's Revenge. And in that same breath, what came out? Black Friday. Who the fuck want war? She said, and people asked if Roman's Revenge is about Kim. It's not about Kim. I'm sorry, Kim, if you felt that it was about you. Go listen to it. Go listen to Black Friday, then go listen to go listen to Black Friday, then go listen to Roman's Revenge and then go listen to Black Friday. That's exactly the whole thing. But Sister Girl confirmed everything I said. So I gotta go. I want sushi. Okay. I might FaceTime y'all on TikTok. When I go get my sushi because I'm hungry. But I'm only hungry for something specific. Y'all know what I mean? I want a bento box. They got some edamame. I love edamame. Especially if it's spicy. And I want some sushi. I'm finna just go eat. Okay, I love you guys. I will see y'all later.